Successful digital transformations require a number of key decisions that need to be made throughout the process. What exactly are those most important decisions that you need to make? That's what I want to talk about here today. My name is Eric Kimberling. I'm the CEO of Third Stage Consulting. We're an independent consulting firm that helps clients throughout the world reach their third stage of digital transformation success. And when going through a digital transformation, there's a lot of different decisions that need to be made. This may not sound like rocket science on the surface, and it's not rocket science, but so many organizations don't understand what those decisions are, and worse yet, they either don't make the proper decisions or they delay those decisions to the point where it delays the project. So what I want to do today is talk about some of those key decisions that need to be made, and keep in mind that these decisions are a way to create alignment and to create speed in your digital transformation. The sooner that you can arrive at these conclusions and decisions and get consensus as a team, the faster your digital transformation is going to go and the less headwinds you're going to face. The first big decision that an executive team and a project team needs to make is, what is our operational and technology strategy? A lot of organizations think that our strategy is just to replace our old systems or to implement a modern ERP system. Those aren't good reasons. They might be reasons why you're deploying technology, but they're not decisions. Your decisions need to focus more on what is the impact we want to see to our operations. What sorts of technologies are going to best enable that strategy? And ultimately, these operational and technology strategies need to connect the dots to the overall corporate goals and objectives. So we need to translate the corporate goals and objectives into some meaningful decisions around what type of operational improvements we want to see and what type of technology we want to deploy. For example, as an organization, you might have some immediate pain points that could benefit from technology. Perhaps your sales team doesn't have the right tools to manage their sales processes, or perhaps your finance group doesn't have the right tools to consolidate financial results. So one decision would be, do we go ahead and solve those immediate problems now and find technology and process improvements that will enable those improvements? Or do we back up and look at the entire technological landscape? That's a pretty big decision that needs to be made, and you need to make sure you're aligned as an organization and as a team before you get too far into your transformation. Another key decision that needs to be made is, what is the magnitude of change that we are willing to take as an organization? A lot of organizations think that we're just going to deploy technology and that's going to drive a lot of our changes. But the reality is there's a lot of different changes and different magnitudes of change that can affect an organization. You might be risk adverse and decide that you just want to do more incremental changes. You don't have the appetite or the tolerance for risk that will allow you to take bigger risks, and that's okay. As long as you're aligned on the fact that we are making more incremental changes, that's okay. Other organizations might be more aggressive. They might be saying, hey, we want to take a swing for the fences or a quantum leap in improvement to our business, so we're willing to take on a bigger magnitude of change. Now, in addition to making this decision, you also need to understand what the consequences and the pros and cons and trade-offs are of each of these decisions. So in the case of the big magnitude change, that just means that you're going to require probably more time, more money, more focus on change management, and more risk and potential disruption to your business along the way. The incremental approach might have the downside of not being up to date on technology and perhaps not taking full advantage of some of the quantum leap improvements that could be available to you. So these are major decisions that need to be made. And again, you want to make this decision before you jump in and start evaluating and deploying different types of technology. Another common decision that digital transformation teams need to make is the level of standardization that they want to enable as part of their digital transformation. So in other words, a lot of organizations we work with are going through merger and acquisition activities and/or aggressive organic growth. And as a result of that, they've grown up with disparate systems, disparate processes, disparate data points, and just different ways of operating throughout the organization. And one of the benefits they want to see as a result of their digital transformation is a standardization of those processes. Now, the reason this is such a complex and difficult decision is because it's not just one decision you're making. You're not just making a yes-no decision of, do we standardize or not? We're making a decision of, where do we standardize and where don't we standardize? It's extremely rare that we see an organization that effectively standardizes their entire operations. Typically, it's a hybrid. Typically, there's certain functions within your business that you are going to standardize or consolidate. And there's going to be other parts of your business where you decentralize or have more flexible processes that are perhaps closer to the customer or perhaps more localized to the individual market. And so it's really important that you have a clear vision going into the transformation of where you're going to standardize and where you're not. And the better handle you have on this and the more alignment you have on this big decision, it's going to save you a lot of time and money when it comes time to select and deploy technology. Another factor to consider, which maybe isn't so much a decision as it is just an understanding of what's going to happen to your organization, is the degree of organizational impact that the transformation will have on you. So this is where we look at the technology and process improvements that we're envisioning, and we articulate and analyze how big of an impact this is going to be and where the specific impacts are going to be to the organization. And the reason this is so important to understand going into your digital transformation is because organizational change and the human factor of change is oftentimes the thing that delays digital transformations. It's usually not the technology, it's usually the people or the process side of the equation. So the better handle we can have on what the change impacts are, the better handle we can have on what the real implementation plan and the real budget and resource commitments and the real risks are going to be. Now, the final big decision that most organizations overlook is a decision around what is the business value and the ROI that we expect to get out of this digital transformation. And there's two sides to this equation. There's the cost side of the equation and there's the business value side of the equation. On the cost side, we need to start with realistic expectations of really understanding what the real total cost of ownership is for this digital transformation. And on the business value side, which most organizations completely neglect, we need to understand and quantify where we expect to get the business benefits, not only to justify the project and to build a business case to get approval for the project, but more importantly, to track business benefits and to hold people accountable for actually achieving those business benefits. And this whole process of benefits realization and value creation is extremely important, but so many organizations overlook it. It's something that really hasn't changed in the 25 years I've been in consulting, and I quite frankly don't understand why. Because companies will spend months and years and millions of dollars on these transformations, but they don't hold themselves accountable to ensure that they get the business value to justify those investments. So be sure you have a clear analysis of what the business value is, what the business case is, and most importantly, how you're going to track those benefits and who you're going to hold accountable for those business benefits. So I hope this has given you some things to think about in terms of decisions that you need to make, not only to speed up the process later, but also to ensure that you have alignment going into the process. And the more aligned you are on these and other key decisions, the faster your implementation is going to go, the less cost it's going to take, and the more value it's going to create. And perhaps just as importantly, it ensures that you're mitigating the risk of operational disruption throughout the transformation. So for more information about digital transformation best practices and other decisions that you need to make and other considerations and best practices, I encourage you to download our digital transformation report. It's an annual report we publish each year that covers transformation best practices and lessons learned and tips. It also includes a number of independent and technology agnostic software reviews and rankings for different types of technology that you might consider for your organization. So I encourage you to download that report as well as other resources that I've included links to in the description field below. So I hope you found that information useful as well. So I hope you found this video useful and hope you have a great day. In order to have an,
No?
and perhaps most importantly, I just have one sentence to go. If I could just finish this one sentence. Successful.
My goodness.
Wow.